Hey, what's up, everybody? True Seeker here. This has been the most craziest weeks I have seen so far out of this whole entire year. And every single time you think you've seen everything, it's like, nope, there's something else that's going to top it again. But at least we're winning, and that's all that really matters. We're still winning, everybody. Doesn't it feel good to be a winner? And I'm sure not tired of it at all. Even after all that crazy stuff the libs were doing to try to stall and delay and get Kavanaugh to not even get voted in, and he still made it. He still did it. We still won. And you know, that literally sets the fire under them now. They're so burnt up. And they're raging almost like a cornered animal. So, I mean, you guys really got to expect the unexpected. But there's still just more stuff that comes out every single day that just tops it even further. So if you haven't heard already, Elizabeth Warren pretty much got busted out now. It says that Elizabeth Warren is 99.9% white, according to her DNA results. Senator Elizabeth Warren on Monday publicly released results of a DNA test that proves the vast majority of her ancestry is white European, yet she is still claiming to be Native American. The Native American tribes require you to be at a minimum 1/16th Native American to be eligible for consideration. The DNA results released by Elizabeth Warren shows she is approximately 0.1% Native American, with a single ancestor from around 400 years ago possibly being Native American. Warren gave the results of the analysis conducted by Stanford University professor and MacArthur genius Carlos Bustamante to the Boston Globe. So that happened on Monday, right? Now we just discovered that her Cherokee cookbook recipes were also all plagiarized. Elizabeth Warren contributed 5 recipes to the Native American themed cookbook and claimed they were handed down from generation to generation in her Cherokee family. But radio talk show host Howie Carr has released damning evidence that appears to confirm that Senator Warren's recipes were simply copied from a famous French chef's recipe online. Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren was humiliated on Monday after her claims of Native American ancestry were roundly dismissed, with even the Cherokee Nation asking her to stop claiming she is one of them, and now things are looking even worse for the Massachusetts senator. The 1984 cookbook Pow Wow Chow was edited by Mrs. Warren's cousin Candy Rousey and is billed as a collection of recipes from the 5 civilized tribes. Mrs. Warren's recipes are featured alongside her mother's directions for sugar cake and her 2 children's recipe for peach cobbler. Mrs. Warren's recipes include herb tomatoes and crab with tomato mayonnaise dressing, among other dishes. But it appears at least 3 of the 5 recipes featured in the book were fakes, according to an investigation by Mr. Carr. The 2 recipes for crab with tomato mayonnaise dressing and cold omelets with crab meat appear to be word-for-word copies of a French chef's design. When I was a chef at Le Pavillon, it enjoyed a considerable esteem in America, and the owner, Henry Soule, had one particular specialty that he would ask to have prepared for his pet customers. The dish was a great favorite of the Duke and Duchess of Windsor and Cole Porter, wrote Chef Pierre Franny in an article syndicated by the New York Times News Service on August 22, 1979. Mrs. Warren lists 10 ingredients for the cold omelet, while Mr. Franny lists only 4, but the preparation of the omelet is nearly identical, with both detailing use of the 7-inch Teflon pan. The only difference in the recipes is that Mr. Franny said the egg mixture should be lightly browned. A 3rd recipe for herb tomatoes appears to be lifted directly from a recipe in a 1959 Better Homes Garden magazine down to Mrs. Warren's instructions for how to enjoy the dish. Great accompaniment to planned meat and potatoes meal, both Mrs. Warren and the Better Homes author says. Elizabeth Warren lied about being Cherokee, so is it any surprise that she would lie about her mother's recipe? Someone that would lie about something so trivial is a person who will lie about anything. To anyone holding out hope that there is an honest liberal in American politics, give it up now. For real. Now, another thing I want to go over is the hypocrisy on the mainstream media. And we honestly seen everything. We already seen it. And I'm sure you guys seen this clip too. It's the Communist News Network with their little panel talking about the Kanye West speech that happened at the White House.
When Kanye West is what happens when Negroes don't read. And we have this now, and now Donald Trump is going to use it and pervert it, and he's going to have somebody who can stand with him and take pictures.
Just looking at Scott's face.
Scott's like, whoa, okay. So
It's a Chris Rock reference, by the way, Scott. Go back and watch the old Chris Rock stand-ups from the 90s.
Maybe
I will look that up.
I know that. All right, listen, maybe it'll work, Tara. Will it? I don't know.
Now, I'm not really understanding why all of a sudden this is funny. How come they're sitting here laughing about something that was actually so racist? Like, that was actually really something racist right there. That was really racist. And they're not saying nothing, they're laughing about it. But could you only imagine if we just changed the character for a second?
When Kanye West is what happens when Negroes don't read. And we have this now, and now Donald Trump is going. Does anybody else hear that dog whistle? It's kind of a bullhorn. Well, you know what? That did not take long. I want you, before I get started, I want you to keep benefit of the doubt in mind, and I'll tell you why. Benefit of the doubt. Keep that in mind. But this didn't take long. Only a few hours after Ron DeSantis declared victory in Florida's Republican gubernatorial primary, the Trump-endorsed candidate said this to Fox News about the Democratic candidate Andrew Gillum, the mayor of Tallahassee, who happens to be the first African-American nominee for governor of Florida.
The last thing we need to do is to monkey this up by trying to embrace a socialist agenda with huge tax increases and bankrupting the state.
Does anybody else hear that dog whistle? It's kind of a bullhorn.
That the dumping of documents continued after the statement, and what may have been avoided was a further escalation of the interference in the form of trying to monkey around on election day or thereafter.
Does anybody else hear that dog whistle? It's kind of a bullhorn.
Say CNBC is no longer available to XYZ, DirecTV, to use an example. That's against the law, and if we wanted to monkey around in some way that they were unhappy about, they can go and complain about it as a dispute resolution mechanism.
Does anybody else hear that dog whistle? It's kind of a bullhorn.
All print in the back of the solicitation have the opportunity, have the ability to monkey around with interest rates. So when people thought they were getting 0 interest or 2%, turns out that a few months later, they were paying very, very high interest rates.
Does anybody else hear that dog whistle? It's kind of a bullhorn.
And it's like their whole world just flips upside down. It makes no sense. And the point I'm just trying to prove here is just even further that CNN is fake news. And obviously, they do not care about anything that's racist. They do not care about anything that's homophobic. They do not care about this Islamophobic that they talk about. They don't care about none of that stuff. The only reason why they make stuff a big deal is to get the sheep all pumped up. And they successfully do it, but they're losing more and more people on a daily basis just because of stunts like this. I mean, I don't know. Like, anybody should be able to see through that. If you're that lost and you still can't see that CNN is fake news, then I don't know what else to tell you anymore. Also in the news, a federal judge has dismissed Stormy Daniels' defamation lawsuit against President Donald Trump and ordered her to pay Trump's legal fees. The porn actress sued the president in April after he suggested she lied about being threatened to keep quiet about their alleged affair. Trump said her drawing a man she claimed threatened her in 2011 to keep quiet was a con job. He tweeted that the man was non-existent and Mrs. Daniels was playing the fake news media for fools. U.S. District Judge S. James Otero in Los Angeles also ordered Daniels, whose real name is Stephanie Clifford, to pay Trump's legal fees. Daniels had filed a new lawsuit against Trump accusing him of defaming her in one of his tweets. The complaint alleged that Trump's tweets mocking Daniels over a forensic sketch of a man she says threatened her to keep quiet about her claims of an affair with the president amount to a defamation because they accuse her of fabricating the alleged crime, which would itself be illegal. The judge on Monday ruled that the president's tweets referring to Daniels were protected by free speech laws. Her lawyer, Michael Avenatti, said they would appeal the decision. The court agrees with Mr. Trump's argument because the tweet in question constitutes rhetorical hyperbole normally associated with politics and public discourse in the United States. The First Amendment protects this type of rhetoric statement. So the judge presides over both lawsuits. Trump's former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, has been at the center of the controversy surrounding a $130,000 payment to Daniels, who has allegedly had sex with Trump in 2006 and was paid money shortly before the 2016 election to say nothing about the affair. Cohen has circulated a statement signed by Daniels in which the arrest denied receiving hush money from Trump. Cohen, who had worked as a counsel to the Trump Organization for more than a decade, said in a statement to the New York Times that he paid the money to Daniels out of his own pocket. But that's not all, folks. That's not all. Also in the news, hypocrite Hawaii Senator Mazie Hirono, who told all men to shut up during a Kavanaugh smear campaign, now faces her own sexual harassment scandal. Hirono is under fire for ignoring women who were being emotionally and verbally abused by a male flight instructor who taught at a flight school Hirono created when she was a lieutenant governor. Coming in from big leagues politics, a Honolulu flight school alum named Deborah Reed said Hirono personally covered up sexist harassment occurring at the flight school that Hirono created as lieutenant governor. Reed said that all female members of the class dropped out after they were emotionally and verbally abused by a male flight instructor who went on to a successful career in the industry. Reed said that she personally brought information about the harassment to Hirono, and Hirono heard her concerns, but male students in the class delivered a petition to Hirono defending their instructor and the workplace environment, and Mrs. Reed's case did not go forward. Here is Deborah Reed's statement to the big league politics. She stated, "I was an aviation student in a program that Senator Mazie Hirono created in 1998, then lieutenant governor, with Honolulu Community College, University of Hawaii, and University of North Dakota flight training program. There were 20 students and 2 of us were females. As time went on, more women signed up, but none were getting passed by the chief flight instructor. I contacted these women after they dropped out from the program, and they told me that they were being emotionally and verbally abused by the chief flight instructor. He would bully them until they were in tears and quit. One other female told me he kept doing her check ride over again several times and never passed her. As for how he treated me, he would grab the controls out of my hands and demon yell and berate me while flying in the cockpit. He also didn't pass me on my check rides. I complained to the college and reported the chief flight instructor and how he was treating females in the aviation program. I also contacted Lieutenant Governor Mazie Hirono and told her what was going on and how the male chief flight instructor was treating the females in her program. After I did this, my male flight instructor refused to fly with me, and the male students signed a petition that they gave Lieutenant Governor Mazie Hirono and told her everything was great at the program. I suspect that they did this because they were protecting their own careers, as there were no other flight training programs at the colleges in Hawaii. I was suspended from the aviation program after complaining to the college, which was the summer of 2000. So this clearly actually just shows that hypocrite Mazie actually knew about all this stuff, and here she is working on allegations about Kavanaugh. You know, she's sitting there complaining and saying how she would not support someone that had all these allegations on it, and then here she is covering up stuff that happened on her own thing that she was in command of. Amazing how that works, right? Here's the record of Hirono as Lieutenant Governor receiving a special VIP tour of the new aviation program on the day it launched, according to the University of Hawaii System Newsletter Archives. Realizing the program's economic development benefits, Governor Ben Caetano and Lieutenant Governor Mazie Hirono were instrumental in achieving legislative approval, reported the University of Hawaii Community College's bulletin in September of 1998. So, I mean, these people are just all dishonest. They're all crooks. They sat there and lied their whole entire way up to the top of where they are. And just think of all the suckers that have been voting for them for all these years. I mean, these people are just liars. Every single one of them. Birds of a feather flock together. These are the same people that says they were with her. Hillary Clinton. These people stood behind Hillary Clinton. That should ring a flag to anybody.
Elizabeth Warren's high-profile rollout of her DNA test claiming she's part Native American appears to be backfiring. The Cherokee Nation is rejecting the results. Quote, using a DNA test to lay claim to any connection to the Cherokee Nation or any tribal nation, even vaguely, is inappropriate and wrong. Senator Warren is undermining tribal interests with her continued claims of tribal heritage. Another Cherokee Nation member is accusing Warren of playing politics.
Elizabeth Warren has relied on stereotypes and popular misconceptions about Native Americans to prop up her false claims. I think that her decision shows that she does not listen to Native people and is more concerned about her own political career and her ambitions than tribal sovereignty and Native rights.
President Trump continuing to go after Warren, tweeting that her stories about her heritage have turned out to be a scam and a lie. This comes after the president called on the senator to say she's sorry for her previous claims.
She owes the country an apology. What's the percentage? 1/1000? I'll only do it if I can test her personally. Okay, that will not be something I enjoy doing either.
The rest of the Democratic Party looks to be putting this issue in the rearview mirror ahead of the midterms.
She's put to rest his, I think, juvenile, offensive, and inappropriate suggestions using his nickname for her, that somehow she didn't know her own family history. And I think it's best for everybody if we move on here and recognize that this is just another episode that was beneath the president.
Move on? Not yet. Because, Jesse, you haven't had a chance to comment on it yet. We want to give you an opportunity.
No, as you remember that I had my DNA tested and I'm 0.1% black.
0.9% actually.
Yeah, okay. So
Even more than her.
I am more black than she is Indian.
Yep.
And imagine if I all of a sudden started claiming I was black. And I was listed as a minority at college, and Fox News listed me as a member of the National Black Journalists Association. This is exactly what Elizabeth Warren did. She said she was a woman of color. I think the color's white. That's what the color is. For 10 years, she, as a university professor, was claiming to be a minority. She said she was a Cherokee in the cookbook that she wrote. She said her parents were oppressed because her mother was Cherokee. And then all of a sudden the Cherokee Nation's like, no. Liz, you're not a member of the tribe. Sorry. And it's all coming unraveling. And the people that are more excited about this than Donald Trump are Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. Because she's cooked as a candidate. It's over for her. And I watched this all unfold yesterday because I had the sniffles. And it was funny because she came out and thought she scored it first.
Yes.
And so did the media. And they started demanding Donald Trump pay off the $1 million bet. And then all of a sudden, now she's at war with the Cherokee Nation, and the media's writing stories like, ooh, the DNA gambit may have backfired. It's kind of like this analogy. Remember the birth certificate with Barack Obama won? Imagine if Obama gets the birth certificate, and he looks at it, and it's not up to snuff. You know, it's forged, it's not real, blah, blah, blah. Do you think he would have then put it out? That's what Warren did. She got the results, and it's only 1/1000th, and she thought that that was going to be a winning move, and she put it out. That's how out of touch she is, and I'm just astonished that this is actually happening.
I think your mention of the birth certificate is so timely.
Is it?
Yeah, because it's the same kind of move, and guess what? He forced Obama to produce the birth. He forces her to go take this test. She gets the guy to say, yes, you have some American Indian ancestry, right?
Some.
And then he won't pay her, and then he insults her by this I don't know, this kind of sexual suggestion. I'm going to personally test you, but I won't enjoy it. What was that,
How does that work? How do you test someone?
I don't know, but I'm just going to say this is so typical of Trump. He makes a promise. He won't pay off the bet. She did exactly what was asked. And with your reference to the Cherokee,
you think she won the bet?
Absolutely.
1/1000th,
Absolutely.
you think she won?
The whole question, all he said was, if you have any Indian ancestry, I will give $1 million.
They tested against Mexican and Peruvian.
Right.
It's not even American.
Doesn't matter. That was what he asked. That's what she did. But here's the thing.
Yes.
The light that the right is taking in the Cherokee Nation, saying this is not right, you shouldn't have done this, is about tribal affiliation. It's nothing to do with the blood test.
Well, then why'd she call herself a Cherokee in the cookbook?
In the cookbook. That's what you're really worried about? No, you know what you're worried about, Jesse? You're worried about affirmative action. That's what this is about.
Why am I thinking about that?
Let me ask Greg about this, because when it turns to ridicule, then you might have a little bit of a political winner if you're on the right going against Elizabeth Warren. Take a look at this tweet from Orrin Hatch, the senator from Utah. You know, he always makes fun of his age. He's in his 80s and doing well. He says DNA tests are quite something, and he says he's got a little T-Rex.
Get
it?
Go. Very funny, very funny. This is humiliating. I mean, you don't take a victory lap after this debacle. I mean, this, to put it in perspective, this makes Michael Dukakis in the tank look like tear down the wall. I mean, this is something you will never forget. Yeah. She is cooked. She might get out of it because it's 2 years from now, but in my mind, she's cooked. I mean, speaking of Cherokee, she has more in common with the Jeep than she does with the tribe, and that's why they kicked her off the reservation, because it was just insulting to them that she, for the second time, was exploiting Native Americans for her own advancement. First, in college, and now this. And they knew it, and it disgusted them. And by the way, to the point about Trump, he doesn't owe her wampum, because he said, if she's Indian, he didn't say part Indian, he said if she's Indian. And the fact is, if the majority, or I guess European Americans have more Native American blood than she does, which is the case according to the New York Times, and me being 2% Native American, he doesn't owe her a dime. However, he should donate some money, perhaps to a Native American fund, just to show that he's a bigger man. But this is great. This is where identity politics takes you. Yeah. And the beauty of this is, I say it again, when you apply for a job where diversity trumps experience, they should staple your DNA test to your SAT scores, your application, and that's going to kill all of this.
See, that's what we're really talking about. I mean, so let's get beyond the static and the gossip. We also got to get you in.
Yeah, we got to get Katie
But
in
I
here.
just think that's what we're talking about is the white identity politics, resentment of anybody working against.
You mean Liz Warren's?
No, I'm
she's
talking
white.
about Donald Trump and Donald Trump playing on white grievance. Oh my gosh.
Okay,
she says,
we're laughing. We're not upset. We're laughing.
The Boston
this
Globe,
is hilarious.
Because the Boston Globe did an exhaustive investigation and said she benefited in no way at Harvard or Penn.
That's not
Nothing.
true.
Zero.
Katie, you get to have the floor.
This is the ultimate cultural appropriation by Elizabeth Warren.
This ain't wearing a sombrero. She actually stole identity.
It's so much worse, and she benefited off of it for 30 years by listing herself in these directories that said she was Native American, which were used as hedge hunter portfolios for schools like Harvard Law to look at lists of people who are interested in getting more diversity into their law schools.
That's not true.
That's what she.
Some of the schools might have used it and said that about her, but she never used it.
Which is a benefit to Elizabeth Warren and getting ahead in her career.
And you cannot deny she actually did a video, again, exploiting Native Americans. And why did she seek out the Stanford academic anyway, instead of using a commercial product like we did on the 5? Yeah. Because she needed an ally.
Yes, right.
She needed someone to finesse this fabrication, and they found this guy, this poor guy, Bustamante, who was just like, why me? Why are you asking me to do this?
The guy's an expert. How about that?
Yeah, but you know what?
But he's not, because he didn't. But is he an expert when he didn't even test the proper DNA against what they were looking for?
It's like an expert witness that you organize in a trial. I want to give a last word to Jesse just about how you saw Democrats wanting to move on from this. They wish she hadn't done it. The timing is terrible. Will anybody let this go?
Yeah, no, Democrats are out there complaining that she didn't need to do this now, 3 weeks before the midterm elections. We're talking about Michael Avenatti. We're talking about Elizabeth Warren. Are these people being paid by the RNC?
Yes.
I mean, they're
so.
that good for the president and his team.
One thing I do know is that these liberal leftists are just plain nuts. They really are. And we can all see that. The whole world is seeing this, and this is just amazing. You know, all the mainstream media outlets like CNN and MSNBC, they're not going to tell you how bad the Democratic Party is actually really losing. They're sitting here trying to tell you that it's going to be a blue wave, but that wave is really just a puddle. The red tsunami is about to wipe out every single thing that they had left. And it's all happening right now. Everybody's witnessing this, and this is going to make history that people are going to talk about forever. What do you guys think about all this? Definitely leave your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to be able to support the channel and the Buddy List social network, please just click one of the links in the description below. And thank you to everybody that's already supporting. Your support is what's keeping everything going, everything alive, and why I'm able to keep making these videos. So thank you guys so much. Love you all, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Please subscribe to our channel, like our video,